Good morning and welcome to Rebel Lens. My name's Austin. I'm your host here. Just a quick rundown since this is the first ever screening of this, the first ever stream that I'm doing. If you're thinking, hey, wait a second, I'm one of the few people who was in the stream last week. Surprise, that doesn't count. I screwed up my audio and I was silent for half of it, and then when I wasn't silent, it didn't record, so I couldn't put it anywhere, so that one doesn't count. This is the first one. Womp womp. Um, so I am in a bit of a rush today. I didn't use my time very efficiently yesterday and ended up having to make up for it this morning. So we are moving kind of quick today. Usually I want to start with about a 5 minute intro followed by 25 to 30 minutes of news roundup. I'm specifically interested in uprisings and revolutions and civil disobedience throughout the world. So if there's a lot of news to cover and I have to leave some stuff out, I am going to err on the side of that kind of news and provide some of that. So if you feel like you're missing some stuff, missing some context, or just not getting enough of other news and everything is way too revolution focused, then totally go check out some other streamers. Plenty of people cover all sorts of news on here. This is just my particular special interest. Just a little bit about me. My name's Austin. I live in between Boulder and Denver in Colorado. I graduated from CU Boulder with a degree in neuroscience and a minor in philosophy. I'm currently studying to get ready for the MCAT. I feel like I'm a little bit underprepared for that, so I'm taking several months. I'm taking a couple months extra on top of the several months I already had planned to study for that. And in the meantime, I want to be able to make some content, provide some news for people, talk about things that I care about. So that's how we've landed here. I will usually, after that news roundup, do a specific segment on the Fox News highlights from the previous day or the previous 24 hours or so. This particular stream is going to be a lot heavier on that because while I was catching up on news for this morning, that was what I left out when I knew I was running out of time because I figured that would be the most entertaining thing for me to react to on the stream, and I kind of figured that uh, it would just make the best content. And also, I put it off because it's the thing I enjoy doing the least. I think it'll be a little bit more fun if I'm doing it specifically with some people to make fun of it. So that is my thinking here. Okay, well, we're gonna screw with that later because, like I said, we do not have time. So I do want to start with a little bit of a news roundup, nothing major, just a couple things I want to cover. This is
The United
specifically
States is pushing
about the disarmament of Hezbollah in Lebanon. My opinion on the matter is very similar to my opinion on when Israel or America claims you have nukes and you need to get rid of them. If you don't have them, you need to get them as fast as possible. And if you do have them, you need to accelerate building more because we have only ever used that as an excuse to invade and demolish countries. And I think largely the same thing about Hezbollah disarming. I think that the United States envoy, who we're about to talk about, largely kind of just pushed them or pushed Lebanon to agree to disarm Hezbollah. I think it's a bad idea. I think Israel has proven that as soon as they think they have the opportunity to commit some atrocities and get away with it, they will do that. It's their favorite thing. I think that Hezbollah is absolutely in the right to be nervous about doing this and to be refusing to do this. So let's see a little bit about what he has to say here on Al Jazeera.
for Lebanon-based Hezbollah to give up its weapons. U.S. envoy Tom Barrack is in Beirut for talks. The Lebanese government has ordered the army to ensure all weapons are under the state's control by the end of this year. And that is one of the conditions of a U.S. brokered deal. It also requires Israeli forces to withdraw from southern Lebanon.
We're hopeful. I think what's happened.
The war, the whole Lebanese map. And this is why Hezbollah is refusing to go in this path, or at least warning that this will have very dire consequences.
Yes, they are warning that. They've threatened civil war. They've also said they're just going to simply ignore the demand to disarm. What's the government, what's the president saying?
I just think that that's exactly right. I don't think that a civil war is a good idea. That's going to be just as bad for both sides. I think that Israel would love to see a civil war as well. I mean, if Hezbollah is not disarmed, using those weapons to fight an enemy other than Israel is the next best thing because they will be completely defenseless if attacked from the other side, and both the Lebanese government and Hezbollah would be weakened by that kind of action. So I think that's just as bad. Straight up just refusing or ignoring the order is probably the way to go, at least until the government steps up and tries to escalate from there. But if they can get away with just ignoring the order for as long as possible, my opinion is that's probably the best move.
Well, what Hezbollah was saying is that the time, as far as there is Israeli occupation of Lebanese territories, as far as there is Israeli attacks on Lebanese territories, then there's no logic in discussing disarming. And the Lebanese government is saying, no, Hezbollah shall disarm. Yesterday, the Lebanese president gave an interview, the Lebanese prime minister also, and the Lebanese speaker, while the Lebanese president and prime minister were stressing that this path will continue. The Lebanese president said that he knows that there's a lot of pressure, and at the end, Lebanon cannot face this pressure, and Lebanon cannot afford being isolated. However, the Speaker of the Parliament, Nabi Berri, who is an ally of Hezbollah, clarified that without ending the Israeli occupation, without ending the Israeli attacks on Lebanon, daily attacks since the end of the war on the 27th of November 2020.
Right. You can't insist for them to put down their weapons and get rid of any sort of self-protection ability they have if you're just attacking them every day. That's insane. And one of the comments here says, what about Netanyahu disarmament? That's the correct question. Like, Hezbollah is not an aggressor in any war at the moment. Hezbollah is not committing any atrocity anywhere in the world, as far as I'm aware. I'm pretty sure that Israel is the one who needs to put down their weapons, the one who needs to be disarmed at this point. They are the ones who are committing a genocide in Gaza, who are displacing millions of people all over there, and are still continuing to carry out daily attacks on Lebanon, even since that war has ended.
24 till this moment, there are more than 250 Lebanese killed by Israeli attacks on a daily basis. So what he's saying is that.
So why the f would Lebanon want them to disarm? Like, do they honestly believe that Hezbollah is going to put down their weapons and Israel is going to be like, perfect, now we're not scared anymore? No, they're going to do the exact same they do all over the world.
Without ending this situation, there's no possibility to discuss this issue about Hezbollah.
Ali Hashem reporting from the Lebanese capital, Beirut. Thank you very much, Ali.
Don't miss out. Get a full picture. Subscribe to.
So that was the one thing that I really wanted to make sure I hit. Let me see if there's anything else in here before I jump over to Fox News, but I'm pretty sure I'm just going to do a bunch of Fox News on this particular stream because I only have about an hour on here before I got to get moving. So let's get to. Sorry, I'll pull. Get over here. Get here. Do. All right, so we're gonna hit this one, which I've already watched some of.
But first, restoring what is ours. That's the focus of tonight's angle.
Good. I hate this woman. But at least everything she says is insane, so it makes it relatively easy to make content about her. So this one, I have actually seen this part, but we're going to go through it anyway because there's some important stuff I want to cover in here.
The family shared with us photos of Honesty Cheadle. She was just 3 years old, shot in the head, according to her family. It was a stray bullet fired from somebody down the street while Honesty was in her father's car.
Mike Gill has died after being shot during a deadly carjacking spree in the district. Gill was a member.
Blah, blah, blah. They're highlighting a couple instances of crime so they can claim that crime numbers aren't actually going down.
Well, those are just a few examples of the types of crimes that we've been seeing here in the nation's capital recently. And no, after the fact juvenile curfew zones that police have intermittently established, they're not the answer. We need real consequences for real criminals to send a real message. Now, you're going to hear from Democrats that crime is down, but here's the kicker. D.C. officials have apparently been manipulating the numbers. Ever heard of that?
It turns out, believe it or not, she's being super disingenuous here. I'm going to go ahead and let her say her bullshit first before I go into debunking it, but just know that this is absolutely not any of what she says means what she says it does, per usual.
To make it look like the situation is really improving. NBC4 in Washington reported that a high-ranking D.C. police commander, Michael Pulliam, was placed on administrative leave after being accused of helping fudge the department's crime stats. Now, according to the police union, officials inside the MPD deliberately altered the data to make it appear that crime had gone down when the truth was anything but.
Cool. So that's not what it says. She is correct that Michael Pulliam was put on administrative leave. However, Commander Michael Pulliam only oversaw one police district out of 7 in Washington, D.C. Even if the allegations against him are completely true, and even if he was completely fudging the numbers and just largely making them up out of whole cloth and not exaggerating them a little bit in one direction or the other, that would only affect a fraction of the city's overall crime rating or crime reporting. The idea that Democrats are using I don't call myself a Democrat. I am far left of that on the leftist side of things. But the headline, Democrats are using fake DC crime stats, is extrapolating from one district's alleged issues to all of them. Whereas even if everything that was said was true, it wouldn't be enough to sway the overall crime statistics of DC. It wouldn't be enough to make it look like crime is going down all over DC when it's really going up all over DC. It just wouldn't be sufficient, even if crime was going up by hundreds and hundreds of percents in his district. It still wouldn't show that crime all over DC is going up in the way that they claim it is. The numbers would still be trending downwards. The broader crime reduction trends in DC are confirmed by a bunch of independent sources well beyond the Metropolitan Police Department, including the Council of Criminal Justice Data, the FBI crime statistics, independent analysts like Jeff Asher, comparative analysis with the other major cities who have similar issues and similar crime statistics. Even if he had completely made this stuff up, once again, it wouldn't be sufficient to create the substantial citywide decrease in crime that we do see through those reportings. That would be a 32% homicide decrease in 2024, 12% additional decrease this year. That's important, specifically bringing up homicide, because that's what their next big lie on this is about. Furthermore, I'm saying if the allegations against him are true, because A, we don't know that they are yet, and B, his suspension did happen a week after he filed a complaint against the executive assistant chief of police, and there's good reason to believe that this could just be retaliation. So we're not totally sure. But given that Trump fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics for publishing numbers that he doesn't like, I don't think it's super crazy or conspiratorial to think that there's a chance this is something similar to that.
Now, our capital city, and I've lived in D.C., I lived in D.C. for about 30 years. This should be a show place. It should be a shining example of beauty and law and order. But instead, it has become a showcase for violence, chaos, and homelessness. We have youth gangs roaming in mobs. We have armed robbers barely old enough to drive. Brutal beatings in broad daylight, and while families live in fear, the city's so-called leaders apply Band-Aids. Now, after years of rising crime, police handcuffed by political activists and public safety had enough.
The criminals roving mobs of wild, let it take our as the metropolitan.
Wrote it of the nation.
More law enforcement. If people are, if
she needs to be replaced. This both sidesing is a load of shit. She knows damn well that this is Trump trying to establish military control and create a military capital. Her trying to say, maybe we do need this. We don't really know what the numbers are, blah, blah. It's wishy-washy bullshit that for all of us.
All-time highs. That's meaningless when the overall violent crime rate in D.C. is worse than some of the most dangerous cities in the world. And here in the United States, according to the most recent data, D.C. ranks #1 in the country for homicide.
That is just not true. I can't find anything close to that. I spent a lot of time trying to find where the hell that could come from, and it's just made up. It's just made up out of whole cloth. everything I could find on the homicide numbers in DC. Here, I can pull this one over, actually. There's nothing major on here right now. Trump's numbers were the numbers Trump was using when he was talking about the rise in homicides were from 2023, which admittedly was a high year in DC for homicides, but it still wasn't the highest in the country. And it wasn't the highest if you extrapolated it to, I think she said something like if DC was a state, it would have the highest homicide rate in the country. I don't know what that means if she's multiplying the murder rate by however many times she would need to make the population match a state. That's obviously not how those statistics work. And if she's saying that if this rate were, like, if their murders per 100,000 were the same, but they were a state, they would be higher than any other state. That's also not true. I don't know what she's getting at here. I don't know what this is coming from. It's just fake. I couldn't find anything to corroborate it. It hasn't been the murder rate in DC has not been the highest in the country, in recent memory or of any stats that I could find. There have been states well above it and cities well above it in every single chart that I've looked at. I can keep looking, but someone can send me something, but I'm pretty sure this is just made up out of whole cloth. All right.
Now things really began to spiral.
And the very last part. There was only one more thing I needed out of this, so we're gonna get this up real quick. Let's get over to YouTube. And
as we might remember, post George Floyd in the summer of love. That's when the D.C. Council passed the Comprehensive Policing and Justice Reform Amendment Act, banning certain control techniques, sharply restricting use of force, and piling on procedural hurdles for officers.
So this is the big thing they're trying to do here. They're trying to get rid of all these restrictions we've put on police to prevent them from murdering us in the streets. And by us, I don't mean me, obviously. But they're going to lie about these crime statistics, and they're going to lie about them in every place they possibly can. They're going to say that we have restricted police too much, we've prevented them from doing their jobs, and now because of it, the crime's going up like crazy, even though the stats just don't match that.
Police at the time warned, and certain stackings have surged.
It's hard to put it ramifications for these kids or young adults, whatever.
We're just back to the we're all scared of teenagers.
How much crime isn't being reported? I don't know.
Too much violent crime being committed by young punks who think...
Young punks. It is old shouts at sky. It's just, here. I think we all know. We're just going to keep that loaded up. We'll just keep that ready to go, because you're going to notice some themes.
That they can get together in gangs and crews and beat the hell out of you or anyone else. But they know that we can't touch them. Why? Because the laws are weak. I can't touch you if...
Because the laws are weak. No, because the laws are protecting children from people like you.
If you're 14, 15, 16, 17 years old and you have a gun.
Of course.
Also, let's be totally clear. They don't give a about crime. They elected Donald Trump. This is not about reducing crime. This is not about even reducing teenage crime. This is about lowering the definition of what is an adult until the people in their party can no longer get in trouble when they release the Epstein files. That's what's happening. These people don't give a about trying children as adults. They want to children like adults. And it's gross, but we all know that's what it is. Like, Donald Trump had no problem with Jeffrey Epstein. He trafficking minors. He said he knows that he prefers his women on the younger side, as if that wasn't the most tongue-in-cheek bullshit. He picked up women at Mar-a-Lago. Like, come on, let's be so for real here. Like, they are not trying to, if they are trying to imprison teenagers, we know which ones. The point here is to get their pedophile friends out of trouble. That's it.
Of course, the judge is 100% correct.
No, all right, we're done with we're done with you. Hannity, I think, was the next one, and he, surprise, surprise, adds nothing of value to anything. Per usual. I think he talks more about the redistricting fight. Oh, there was something in here. There was one good
safety
one.
and security for all its residents after deploying them as law enforcement in D.C. if they're command of the citizens
blah, blah, blah.
on Earth and look how as our
Hannity.
capitalist city.
This is what I was talking about. I don't know what the that means, but it's from the Heritage Foundation, so it doesn't mean anything. But he's just made this is made up. That's not extrapolated from any data. It's just bullshit. I have no idea where that's coming from.
Even Chicago, Compton, and L.A. have a lower murder every. It was
blah,
London.
Blah, blah.
In the system,
victim
to do to make.
Wait. All right. Anyway, that's what we needed out of that one. Let's get back here.
That these we're going
to
how they were saying.
I just need to see him talking about Zoran. Oh, Gutfeld. I hate that Gutfeld. I don't know how he has a show. It's crazy to me. Oh, I skipped it. Where are we at now?
$2,300.
We'll get there. First, he's laughing so hard he's crying. So you can see that.
Their little temper tantrum trying to stall
blah, blah, blah,
redistricting. All Marxist Mamdani brought to tears by Elizabeth.
I wish he was a Marxist. I love Mamdani. Don't you worry. I am on his side. I think he shares a lot of my politics, but I'm to the left of anyone who could possibly run for office, at least with my stated beliefs. So
Elizabeth Warren, very touching. Here. Take a look.
A tear, that single tear.
I was trying to hold in the cough and I started crying.
I thought you were just being
I love this guy. How is this not glazing? How is this video not glazing him? This makes him look great.
I bring this out in people. I really do.
Her. Nah, medium.
Some water.
That's what we need, a crybaby mayor in New York City.
Like, that video in no way makes it look like he's a crybaby or sensitive. I don't understand where he's getting these clips, but it doesn't really matter because in the next 30 seconds, you're going to see what made me right. Hannity's brain is going the way of Biden's on live TV. I don't...
And coming up,
just watch.
Why is Marxist Mamdani in a cheap $2,300? Understand, in New York, $2,300 is nothing. It's a New York apartment, rent stabilized. That is designed for working class people and poor people.
And they need to understand that our representatives should be working class people. His idea that just everyone who runs for office needs to be an oligarch is gross and telling. But that's not the part that makes me think his brain is falling apart. This switch up is crazy.
New York City's dark future with this aspiring rapper turned Marxist hero at the helm. And like many communists, ultra wealthy, Zoran Mamdani is living the good life while taking resources away from people that really need it.
How is that? How is that coherent? I don't understand. I need help. Like, he's a poor person living in a $2,300 rent-stabilized apartment, which, by the way, is more expensive than this apartment that I'm filming from, but we're in New York, so I bet it is smaller. Or he's in New York. I am not. So I bet it is smaller, but how the do we go directly from that is for the working class and the poor to he is extremely wealthy and living the good life? I don't get it. This guy is an idiot. And he looks like he thinks he's making a point.
Tonight, that is our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. We will give you news and information. I promise you'll never get from the state.
Yeah, I don't know. So there's that. I'm going to pull up a quick guy I got over here, because I have two more things out of this. But first off, I want to pull this guy up. This.
Yeah, it never ends. But it's so lazy to just constantly make fun of women for how they look. Only the liberals and the extremists do that.
That's just the most insane statement she could possibly make, right? Only liberals and extremists do that. Okay, well, here's somebody on the same show right here. Let's go
lighting. This population in D.C. only Mexican, Chinese. Meanwhile, everybody agrees her face should be banned from places with good lighting.
Yep. Only the liberals and extremists do that, right? Only the liberals and the extremists make fun of women for
They're
their
like
looks.
a hot chick who got old and no longer gets the love she once did. But enough about Selena Gomez.
Oh, wild how that happens, huh? It's the dude on the same show that I pulled the other clip from. It's asinine. They have no self-awareness. It's the dumbest thing in the world. I cannot wrap my head around how people think that any of this is coherent or good messaging or whatever. I really hope it's all just about owning the libs and
Hi. So what made you?
this level of intellectual dishonesty, but I'm scared it's the dishonesty. Okay, so I haven't watched this yet. We're just going to do this one together, and we're going to move on through it.
Not defund the police. What made you? Okay. Vulnerable people.
Our very own Nicole Parker.
So let's see. Is he going to defund the police? Let's go. Will Zoran Mondani defund the police? Based on recent statements as of July and August 2025, Zoran Mondani does not plan to defund the New York Police Department. He has stated that he is not running to defund the police and intends to keep NYPD's headcount at its current level. That's just the AI wrap-up. I'm sure there's some other stuff going on in here. But Politico, Democratic Socialist, spent his political career criticizing the New York Police Department. But anyway, the police reform is not what he ran on. I understand that it's not his main concern. He wants to freeze the rent, he wants to make the buses fast and free, and he wants to attack the grocery store problem and the food desert problem. So I think that if there's any reason he's not talking about defunding the police, it's because his focuses are on those three things, which he ran on and which is consistent.
Caught up with New York City's radical mayoral candidate Marxist Mamdani outside of a campaign event.
Marxist Mamdani is a great nickname. I just wish it were true.
3 questions in and got an answer. Mamdani did eventually answer several of the questions, which is kind of good news. After getting heckled by locals, we're going to bring you the full exchange. That's straight ahead, that exclusive tape. Plus, like a clown in a circus, Beto.
Can you imagine what he would be saying if Democrats were interrupting a press conference yelling, "F you, f you"? You don't have to imagine it. I'm positive we can roll this back less than a week and we'll find something about him saying, oh, well, Democrats don't respect the rules. Democrats don't respect law and order. And right before, the Republicans just start shouting people down and doing exactly that. And again, elect a felon president and then claim to be about law and order.
Bozo O'Rourke is desperate for attention yet again. Take a look.
We are in a basketball game right now, if you'll excuse the metaphor, where the refs have left the arena. And the other side is just clobbering at us, just punching us in the face, kicking us in the nuts, and we're kind of throwing our hands.
He played the same clip on the other one. We didn't watch it, but on the previous one, he played the exact same clip. And through watching way more of these than I ever would have liked to, I've noticed a trend of that. They really do love to just play the same over and over. And I know it's part of the propaganda machine to just hammer these things into their base's head, but it's crazy. They don't have shit to talk about. They all pick the same 3 stories and just harp on them over and over and over and make up the same bullshit and the same mostly made up talking points.
Our hands up.
Meanwhile, fellow politician Stacey Abrams, she has a big new gig at Harvard. The university is calling the 2-time loser a political mastermind. If she was such a mastermind, why didn't she win? Anyway, as you can tell, the Democratic Party, not in great shape. It's run by radicals, but Illinois, power.
If the Democrat Party was run by radicals, I would consider myself a part of it. This idea they're constantly hammering home that the establishment Democrats, who are like a foot or two to the left of them, like barely registering as centrists at this point, are extremists, and it's the only way that they can possibly delegitimize the actual views of most of the people on the left, which have obviously way outpaced the speed at which the establishment left is willing to move that direction.
Hungary Governor J.B. Pritzker is struggling to come to grips with reality. Take a look at this.
Yes, winning elections is partly about messaging and strategy, but it's mostly
Also, you can call a failure all she wants, but anyone else would call getting a job at Harvard pretty cool.
about values and delivering on them, and our values are exactly where they ought to be. So it's time to stop apologizing when we're not wrong.
Don't change at all. Listen to the governor of Illinois. Those values are right where they need to be to lose every election. Government funded, taxpayer funded, transgender surgery, gender affirming care for kids, higher taxes, open borders, get out of jail free cards for violent felons, repeat offenders, defund, dismantle, no bail laws.
Well, until he started lying about a bunch of policies that don't exist. He did have a point that, yeah, if the Democratic Party maintains its current trajectory, it will lose every election. Like, why the vote for the diet Republicans? As long as they're still fully in the pockets of all their corporate donors, getting funded by largely the same people who are funding the other side, and are still protecting Israel and protecting capital owners and billionaires, yeah, well, there's no fucking reason for anybody to vote for Democrats. I don't understand why they think they can just be the shittier version of Republicans, and by I mean worse, I just mean less functional version of Republicans, and then like pull the votes of people who hate everything the Republicans are doing. We're not going to address the list of fake policies he put up.
How's it all working out? How's woke working out? And anyway, the most liberal city in America, our nation's capital, we know that's a dumpster fire. It's one of the most violent places on the planet. You look at the entire planet Earth.
You see what I mean about just the same all over and over and over?
And the number one capital with the highest homicide rate is Washington, D.C., higher than other major capitals around the world. But many on the left are now pretending that it's perfectly safe. It's not.
Leaving a complete
lives, prolonged suffering.
He's leaving a lot of cities off that list. When I looked this up, it said that there were 49 cities, and there were at least 49 cities that you could easily find with higher murder rates and higher violent crime rates. He's just selecting a few so that he can make D.C. look awful.
Or the glaring problems in America's capital city, because for them, nothing is more important than hating Donald Trump every second, minute, hour of every day. At this point, the left has become so deranged that even members of the legacy media mob that are usually, running point for them, they're desperately trying to steer them back on track with just a gentle dose of reality. Take a look.
I live in Washington. This is personal for me. Many people are frustrated with crime that we see, particularly committed by juveniles in the city of Washington. People are frustrated, Willie, that when they go to CVS to buy deodorant, that they have to get it from behind locked plexiglass.
This is what I mean. Like, why the would anyone vote for the Democrats? They are just pushing the same bullshit that the Republicans are pushing, and trying to act like they're morally superior when they run a lot of the same bullshit. And towards the end of the last election, even Biden and Kamala and the other establishment Democrats had just conceded that all immigrants are criminals and that we need to do something about immigrant crime, when they did not have to give up that point because it's true. Everybody knows, it's been beaten to death. We've quoted the statistic over and over and over that immigrants commit, on average, less crimes than natural-born citizens. And that's just a fact. It has been corroborated. We have looked at the studies. People have tried to break the studies. They are just true. And Democrats just gave up on that point. They just gave that over to them. So why the hell would anyone vote for the Democrats when they're like, hey, we're wrong about this thing the Republicans have been saying the whole time? It's a terrible losing strategy, and this idea that we're now going to give up on crime and say, oh, actually, they're right. All the crime statistics are bull, and crime is actually super high. We're just bending over for them. It's insane.
Now, you have people on both fake news, CNN, MSDNC. They are now openly worried. The Democrats, blinded by never-ending anti-Trump rage, have once again picked the wrong side of an important issue. They seem to do that daily. Take a look.
I can't tell you how profoundly stupid it is for Democrats to get up with their facts and their figures and their charts and their graphs and say, look, you're safe. Can't you read this chart, idiots? Why are you complaining? I'm showing you right here how safe you are, so shut up and move along. I don't have to tell you how profoundly stupid that is, because voters told you how profoundly stupid that was in 20.
No, voters told you how profoundly stupid it was to continue supporting a genocide in Gaza. That is why you lost, because Kamala Harris didn't look any different from the Republicans in any meaningful ways. She did a bunch of messaging, she did a bunch of shouting down the Republicans, but she didn't She didn't reach out to the people who are scared and worried about people in Gaza and about their income and about income disparity and about billionaires not getting taxed enough and about billionaires getting away with, pedophilia rings and things like that. The Democrats have not meaningfully separated themselves from the Republicans in this space, and that's what's going wrong.
2024.
You can't keep saying violent crime is down, but the murder rate's up. To the average person, the murder rate's about life and death. You don't brag about a rising murder rate. And the Democrats...
The murder rate's not up.
I agree with you, Megan. They're falling into the trap of defending what's indefensible.
It's a trap.
So like everyone else, working class voters are fleeing the Dems. The New York Times talked to blue-collar Democrats, and the consensus was clearer than the vodka in Kamala's coffee mug.
Good God, I hate this man.
The Dems are turning off more normal people than a sex tape from Rosa DeLaura and a peacock. Once the party of labor, the Dems had become the party of elites, making their brand more toxic than Jerry Nadler's underpants in a heat wave. After years of support, the Teamsters are shifting away from Democrats and funding Republicans, which makes sense because it's hard to picture someone who drives an 18-wheeler demanding that you pay off his truck loan. He might as well be wearing a pink pussy hat while pumping his fist in the air to NPR. The union's boss said...
But they're anti-union.
Saying that they forgot who they're truly representing, working people. And when the unions jump ship from the Dems, you know it's bad. That's like John Fetterman boycotting Goodwill. It's a troubling trend even Comrade Sanders can see.
And we have got to understand that the Democratic Party, in many, many respects, has turned its back on the working class of this country. And if
Absolutely it has. The Democratic Party is funded by billionaires. It is trying to make billionaires into trillionaires. It is funded by the exact same people funding the Republicans. This is not me saying both sides are evil. Obviously, there are way worse things going on the right than there are on the left. But they're not wrong here. Like, the Democrats have abandoned the working class of America, and it's because they don't actually have any reason to care about them.
Democrats want to win elections, they're going to have to stop taking money from billionaires and start responding to the needs of working people.
Right. And that's the guy who hasn't held a real job since Nancy Pelosi's tits respected gravity.
I'll clip that into the comments on appearances, but this guy, I could do full videos on this guy just being women.
1950s. But it's obvious there's not a single issue Dems champion that resonates with the blue-collar American. The only contact they would have with one is hiring a guy to install urinals in the women's bathroom. And because of DEI, the person they hired would be a dwarf amputee who identifies as a carrot.
No laugh for that last one.
The whole party is a swill of identity extremism.
And a small giggle for that one. I don't know.
Luxury belief in victimhood. They loved open borders because migrants aren't taking jobs reserved for art history majors. They hate cops because they want to be the ones telling everybody what to do. And they still resent the fact that Cagney and Lacey weren't lesbians. Aren't we all? They also think gender is just an opinion until a man says something they don't like. Their party leaders are career politicians who never had a real job. Hell, Chuck Schumer couldn't shit about them. Worst thing squad, boiling a...
Who says America first? I feel like the Dems, it should be America. But first, it's low wages. And I was like, check. And then it was like possible menial labor, like maybe you don't get benefits and stuff. So I would say comedian when you start out working class. But I don't know if you know this about me, but
Yeah. That happens a lot with the Gutfeld one. I just can't watch it, and it feels a lot like platforming.
But there's a new
some gross
administration in
after
town.
a minute. So let's jump over to this one. This is the last highlight reel that I need
Crime
to
is
catch
no
up
longer
on.
permissible in Washington, D.C., even
Speed
if you
this
vote for
shit
Democrats. Now, Sean Charles Dutton.
Okay, where are we at? Oops, that's the wrong one. Get that back open.
But there's a new administration in town.
Oh, shush. Where is she?
Sports. The so-called rights of illegals like Abrego Garcia over the safety and security of Americans, and now they, prefer the murder?
They don't care about the safety and security of Americans. They care about clamping down and military control.
Rape, death, mayhem.
Because if they cared about the safety of Americans, they would care about preventing crime, not just punishing criminals. Punishing criminals does not reduce crime. It punishes people who commit crimes.
Over law and order and safety and security for law-abiding citizens, but don't take my word for it. Here is the chief statistician at even fake news CNN. Take a look.
I think that sort of gives the game away here because Donald Trump is like Air Jordan towering over Joe Biden when it comes to their handling of crime. Look, in 2024, look at where Biden's net approval was on crime. Way on the water there at minus 26 points. It was one of Biden's worst issues. Granted, pretty much every issue was one of Biden's worst issues. And again...
And the fact that people don't feel safe, even though they are objectively safer than they've ever been in most areas of the country, is not an issue we need to solve by just by pretending to solve problems that we know don't exist. We need messaging. We need to show people, okay, this is where things were. This is where things are now. This is what we have done to accomplish that. This is what we're going to continue doing to continue that trend. Things like that. It's a messaging issue.
Look at where Donald Trump is. Way, way, way above Joe Biden. What is that? That's 27 points. So Americans vastly.
And that's not to deny the effect that this kind of propaganda obviously has on people's opinions on this stuff. Obviously, propaganda works. It is convincing people they are unsafe, even though crime is down in almost all of the country. I say almost because I'm sure there are places that people can point out where it is up, but as an overall trend, crime is down. We all know this. There needs to be a way to communicate this, and I think that showing what we have done, what we have accomplished, how we've done it, and how we're going to continue doing it is the way to do that.
We prefer Donald Trump's approach to crime than they did to Joe Biden's. And again, I think it gets back to the point that Americans are far more hawkish on crime than a lot of Democrats want to admit.
Also, I think this is something that I end up getting arguments a lot about, but we just we're a vengeful culture, and I don't know. I either don't know where that comes from or don't have the time to go down the rabbit hole where I think that comes from. But we are a vengeful culture, and we care a lot less about preventing crime, just as Janine Pirro has said, than we do about harming the people who have committed crimes. And that obviously doesn't do what we need it to. If we had moved to a rehabilitative program where we can actually provably prevent reoffense and prevent people from going back into the world after whatever prison sentence they serve and committing more crimes, then we could be reducing crime in even more and in way more meaningful ways, and improving the society these people live in by making them valuable, productive members of society. But that's not what we want to do. We as a country way prefer to know that we're making people feel terrible and we're punishing people, and for some reason that retribution makes us feel good about, oh, if that guy stole from us, then we feel better knowing that he's suffering now. I get it. I know that it's instinctual, but it's just not smart, and it's not the correct way to prevent these things from happening.
It should come as no surprise. It's simple common sense. Americans, they want law and order, safety, security. Nobody wants to get killed, assaulted, carjacked on the way to the grocery store, and we have laws and law enforcement officers are there for a reason. Why Americans...
Like the data exists. In Nordic countries who do rehabilitative justice, the reoffense rates are, what is that word? Recidivism rates are so much lower than ours, whereas our recidivism rates in America are ludicrous. Even with crime going down, the people committing crimes the most are the people who are supposed to have served their sentences.
Don't support, defund, dismantle, no bail laws. Now the Trump administration is now committed to getting the criminals off the streets. That includes illegal aliens. And just moments ago, the Attorney General...
Again, it's not a criminal offense to enter illegally or to stay when your visa expires.
Bondi delivered official demand letters to sanctuary cities, counties, and states ordering an end to unlawful sanctuary policies.
So the culture is shifting, and you can.
I don't know if we can do it. Let's try.
Can't you? It's like when Nirvana came around and suddenly I could book Motley Crue for my birthday party. For years, the left owned the culture. They told us what was funny and what was
okay, that was a good joke.
Offensive. At any moment, you'd be canceled for outlandish opinions, like maybe that Miss America shouldn't be able to pee standing up. But then it happened, the flip. Together we told the woke left to stick their scolding where the sun don't shine. You know, Michael Moore's feet. And it's more than satisfying. It's liberating because America is fun again. For instance, Trump's
that's just his idea of America is fun again is white people could say the N-word again. And apparently you can fly off to Epstein Island without consequence. That's America's fun again because we can be mean to minorities and sexually assault children. That is the rights policy, I guess. The rights idea of fun. All right, hey, thanks for checking out this video. If you want to catch the stream, I will leave my Twitch link down in the description here. I stream Monday through Friday at 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time.